When the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt.
Would you like to kill yourself? Would you like to kill yourself slowly? Would you pay money to kill yourself? Well, that's what you're doing if you smoke cigarettes. So stop smoking, no smoking. Because not only are you killing yourself, but more importantly, you're killing me, because the secondhand smoke is killing me. And that's our topic today on Let's Talk Live right here on Huda TV. The number is 00202 3855 248 or 9. That's 00202 3855 248 or 249. And before we begin this episode, please pray and make dua for my good friends who smoke cigarettes, like Moataz Nabil, Ahmed Ismail, Muhammad Shoki, and Muhammad Sami. All these are good Muslim people. They're good brothers, but they smoke these terrible cigarettes. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about why it's important to stop smoking if you do smoke. That's our topic for today. We have two special guests. You saw them here last week, so we bring them back by popular demand. The South African Shaykh, all the way here from South Africa, obviously, Shaykh Zakaria. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Zakaria.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi.
Thank you so much. But I forgot what city you're from in South Africa.
From Fordsburg.
Okay, excellent, but wonderful. Of course, we have American Rebirth brother from Pennsylvania, also a former Def Jam artist, a nasheed artist, and we're very pleased and happy to have you, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for being with us. I'm expecting, inshallah, if you can bring us a couple of nasheeds, perhaps related to this topic today, if it's okay with you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, and we have the studio audience as well. We have a assalamu alaikum, young man. Nice to be with.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Of course, we have a special guest all the way from around the world in the back. Can you pass the mic back there? Brother Ahmed Basuni, he's a regular guest, so let's talk. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Brother, what country are you from?
Actually, I'm from Egypt.
Okay,
it's my pleasure to be beside you in this very special episode about smoking and doing harmful things for yourself and for others.
Brother, do you have any stories you can share with us about, I know people here in Egypt, unfortunately, they do smoke. So do you have any personal stories you can share with us when you ask somebody to stop smoking and they did, or anything like that?
Yes, you're right, but actually the problem is bigger than saying a story. It's something regarding to our deen. It has a hukm in our deen. It's a kind of haram or halal.
Okay.
Doing things for Muslims must have the knowledge of doing this. Is this haram or halal?
Right.
And I think smoking cigarettes is very, very bad thing. Sometimes I found many situations regarding being the transportations, but I find smoking cigarettes is very, very harmful thing for oneself and for others.
Yes.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it haram for ourselves, because it's harm for ourselves and for others. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to us, don't harm yourself or make or be a reason of harmful health for others.
Right, can you see this hadith in Arabic?
Yes. لا ضرر ولا ضرار.
Brother, this morning on the microbus, when I came to work, the brother was smoking next to me, and I said, brother, can you please put out the cigarette? And he said, no. I said, please, brother. I quoted this hadith, which I heard from Dr. Salah yesterday. So I said, mashallah, the hadith, this knowledge is better than using violence or yelling and screaming. No, you gave this, mashallah, this Muslim brother who was smoking, I gave him this small hadith that I learned from Dr. Salah and asked Huda, and it worked. He put out a cigarette. I was very pleased about that. Alhamdulillah. So thank you, brother. So can you quote the hadith again for me in Arabic?
Yes. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا ضرر ولا ضرار.
No violence or reciprocating violence.
Yes.
Brother, can you pass the mic to the brother next? Actually, hold on. Before we get to you, brother, let me just get to the Shaykh Zakaria. Brother, you come from South Africa. Are there a lot of smokers there?
Well, in South Africa, it's the same thing that you meet here in Egypt.
Okay.
Mostly you'll see that there's a big majority of smokers.
There is, okay.
And the sad part is that, especially amongst the upcoming youth, it hurts you, it pains you to see a youngster smoking in front of elders. He doesn't have a care in the world who's watching him, and it's really sad to see that the amount of smokers that are coming in. And I would just like to add this, that the worst sight ever is to see a girl smoking.
Yes,
to see a female smoking. It's really, it's horrible.
Actually, alhamdulillah, I didn't see that much here in the Middle East. I did see it once or twice, which is really disappointing. Although, Brother Omar, where we're from the United States, this is a regular sight, isn't it?
It's normal.
In fact, Brother Omar, I have some stats here. According to a Reuters poll in 2011, 500,000 people die in the U.S. alone from smoking each year, and smoking in the United States kills slightly more women than men. What are your thoughts about those stats there? 500,000 people die a year alone from smoking-related cancer. And that's an amazing fact, isn't it?
It's amazing.
That people keep smoking.
It's amazing that people find out how harmful things are and they continue to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
shocked by that.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that as well. I have some other interesting facts I want you guys to comment on. Worldwide, Shaykh Zakaria, 6 million smoking-related deaths. It's a shame, though, that Muslim governments allow the Ministry of Health in all these Muslim countries. They put a picture on the cigarette box, don't they, Shaykh? And it has like a really bad picture of a lung or a heart, and it has a warning. But people, despite all that, the people still buy them and use them, don't they?
And that's what we were just speaking about before this. I said that if you really want to, in Islam, learn what is the definition of conviction, the definition of confidence, then take it from the tobacco companies.
Why do you say that?
Because even tomorrow, if the government tells them that they have to put, they could put the worst of pictures on the cigarette pack, you know,
Right.
a person's toe missing because of cigarettes, or a person, you know, that someone's
breathe.
lungs or can't breathe, or a person's face
Yeah.
that's you know, full of
Pus or
something,
disfigured,
you know, disfigured pictures. But still, they know that the value and the amount of the customers will never drop. It in fact increases.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So they know, they have the conviction that they have advertised it enough, and it's because you know, as you carry on smoking, the thing is, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us this. You know, if you do a sin, the more you do it, the harder it is to keep yourself back from doing that sin.
Oh, excellent.
So
point.
you know, so every day smoking, inhaling, it
Right.
becomes a part of your life. It becomes, you know, that's why you find some guys, they tell you, after I have a good meal, I need a smoke, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Some guys will tell you, you know, if I'm stressed out, I need a smoke.
Right.
Because it's not actually that the cigarette is working, but they have made it part of their life.
Yeah, they have made it part of
So
their habits.
these advertisements and advertising of smoking harms you, smoking causes cancer,
Yeah,
you know, pregnant women shouldn't smoke, and that it doesn't work anymore.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
Excellent
so-
point. Brothers, what about the idea of repentance? Because we all make sins, and sometimes when you make a sin a lot, you think, oh, forget about it. It becomes like normal. But perhaps a smoker can say to himself, you know, I'm smoking now, but as long as we acknowledge that it's wrong and we make repentance, I mean that's a good step, isn't it?
It's a step.
But we have to have them quit, obviously, you know, if it's smoking. But Shaykh, I mean, repentance. I mean, if you know the sin is wrong, I mean, that's a step in the right direction, isn't it? Because many people, they say, no, it's not haram, it's not, it's okay to smoke. It's wrong to smoke, isn't it? But what can a smoker do with regards to, you know, our deen? What kind of things can he do to make repentance to Allah and to ease him to quit smoking?
You know, I would say that, firstly, to see how bad his problem is, he should maybe in the morning or whenever he has free time, just take a nice fast run.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Just see
Yeah.
how much it has affected him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And
of course.
from there,
Good
he
idea.
himself would be able, because, you know, sometimes you want a person to first see what he's doing to himself, you know, just by saying that, you know, you should quit, you know.
No one cares.
So
right.
firstly, every smoker should firstly test himself, because sometimes we play soccer, you know,
Right.
and you find a guy that was a good player,
Yeah.
and he was such a good, you know, he had such good skills and he could run on the field, but after smoking, you know, it's 2-3 minutes and he has to sit down, he can't,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
So
excellent point.
in fact, and the second thing is, like you were saying about repenting,
Right.
you know, until you don't have that firm conviction that, you know what, I'm going to repent, and after this, I'm not going back again to that action.
Right, of
You
course.
know?
That's the
So
idea.
if a smoker wants to really repent, it's all about, you know, having that confidence, and, you know, really making that, like we say, it's always about succumbing and saying that I want to do this.
Right,
know?
you have to have the conviction, yeah, of
And
course.
very important, if you want to leave smoking, don't stay in the company of friends of yours that smoke.
Excellent point. Yeah, because we talked about last week too.
We
You are,
talked
Brother
about
Omar
that.
said, you are the company.
You're on the dean of your companions.
Yeah, that's
You're
excellent
on the
point.
dean of your companions.
Brother, we left an American lifestyle where this type of stuff was acceptable. So were you a little disappointed when you moved here to the Middle East and you saw Muslim people smoking? And how do you approach them? Because we want to be positive, of course, because we are all Muslims, regardless of if we're making these sins.
No. I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed initially because of number one, the lack of information. The lack of information that goes out to to more so educate them also. I found actually, from being in this environment, it seems more people smoke here than even what I see in the States.
By far.
You know,
I
by
have some
far.
facts I'm going to read to you, inshallah.
And then on top of that, you already have other conditions here that are contributing to the bad health. Now they're adding to it.
Yeah. Right. So it's, yeah.
You know,
But
so-
you're seeing education. You see education as a problem. We have to educate people that smoking is unhealthy, of course. We have a nice clip coming up in the third segment from Dr. Salah about the Islamic impermissibility of smoking. I think the brother in the back had a question. Go ahead, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum
My name is Hussein Din Alam. I'm a senior student at the Faculty of Sharia and Law English at Al-Azhar University.
MashaAllah.
And with the aid of Allah, I'm currently the Secretary General of Islam Ambassadors Association
MashaAllah.
at Al-Azhar University.
Welcome, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd like the brothers and to focus more on the evidence why smoking is prohibited in Islam. Because the number one, as you mentioned, Brother Malik, smoking is one of the number one causes for mass killing. And even statistics indicate that it is even more lethal than AIDS and car accidents and overdoses combined and many other causes. So, and this is sufficient for it to rule it forbidden in Islam.
Yes,
And because Allah the Almighty states in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. Sorry. So it can be translated as the following: and do not kill yourselves, as indeed Allah is the most merciful to you. And also, as the brother mentioned, the hadith, لا ضرر ولا ضرار, there shall be no harm nor the reciprocation of harm, and this is sufficient to rule it forbidden. And I hope that the brothers can add more to this.
Yeah, excellent point. That's a beautiful ayah that he quoted. We can use that, can't we, Shaykh?
Yes.
Yeah, to say this is haram. You know Imam Karim Abu Zaid from Nation of Goodness and Building Better, one of our sheikhs here, he told me he made Hajj and he saw a man smoking in his ihram, and he went up to the man, he said, he was talking about enjoining good and forbidding evil and how he made a mistake in doing this. He said, because he was irritated, and he said to the man before he said anything, he said, what are you doing smoking in ihram? Don't you know it's haram? And the guy said to him, Wallahi Shaykh, that's the first time I ever heard somebody say that smoking was haram. So the man didn't even know it was haram. Before I get your thoughts, Shaykh, we have a phone call. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad. Muhammad from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad. Go ahead, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Brother Malik. This is a very good idea of having this topic today.
Thank you, brother, for calling.
I really like it because unfortunately, I found everyone here in Egypt smoking, even in the transportation, even in public places.
That was very bad.
I'm glad that finally someone is talking about this. I think we should fight this habit, this bad habit, on different levels, on the religious level, on the social level. I believe smoking is a very bad habit now, and unfortunately, we don't find a lot of sheikhs or a lot of scholars talking about this every day.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Brother, what do you do in your personal life in order to kind of combat smokers? Do you try to talk to them, speak to them nicely, give them Quran and Hadith in order to get them to stop?
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, cigarettes were not there when the Prophet ﷺ living and the companions. But I believe if the Prophet ﷺ was living now and seeing all of these cigarettes and smoking all over the place, he would say something against it. Of course, I believe it will be haram because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. That should
the hadith of the Prophet, yes.
Sorry, the hadith of the Prophet that should be no harm inflicted on anyone.
Yeah, of course. And
that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, don't kill yourself.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's killing everyone now. I think one of the major reasons of the early death and the youth death according to the United Nations and WHO is smoking.
Yeah, of course. Excellent point, Brother Muhammad. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your thoughts. You know what kills me about the smokers, though? It's like, okay, if you want to smoke a cigarette, whatever, but you're killing me with it. Why are you harming me? You're bothering me. You know what I mean, Shaykh? So, I mean, this is, I think, a huge problem. But many people say, Shaykh Zakaria, well, cigarettes weren't around at the time of the Prophet, so it's not impermissible. You have no clear evidence that it's impermissible. What do you have to say to these people?
You know, just speaking to my friend a few days ago, I said to him that a true Muslim, you know, a true believer, you know, should be that when you look at something, you should be able to say that this is wrong or this is right. And if it has doubt, then I'm not going to take myself nearer to this here because I want to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want to follow what's on the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whether it was in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or not in the time, I will look at what is the consensus of the ulama.
Yeah.
Most of the ulama are saying that it is not permissible. It is not permitted. We have hadith that it's saying it harms.
Yeah.
We have pictures that are showing that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Why do you need, what more reason do you need
What reason do we
to
need?
say that it's haram or not haram? If you are a true believer, it's supposed to be that you understand that that's
It's
it.
finished, yeah.
I'm not going near to smoking.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to tell me how can we base our Islam on everything that should be, that you know what, I'm going to wait now and sit back and relax. Then you being same like the Jews that used to fish on the day of Sabbath. They used to say that no, we will just we won't fish, we'll just guide the water towards us, and we'll catch the fish on the next day.
How did Allah punish them?
And how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish them?
With the punishment
With the punishment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them, if I'm not mistaken,
chimpanzees.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed them into chimpanzees.
So think about that. You guys stay tuned for more Let's Talk. We'll be right back.
Whispers of Satan, desires, peer pressure, leading you to a dead heart. But there is a way out. Living Hearts.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Live. I'm waiting for your phone call, 0020238 555-248 or 249. We're talking about an interesting topic, not smoking, with some interesting guests. Let's go to the audience. You guys had some stuff to say. Go ahead, brother, in the front row.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to focus on two things. First of all, being clean. For a Muslim, he should be clean.
Good point.
He shouldn't bother the person who is close to him with bad smoke or bad smelling.
Right.
This is number one. And number two, that he has a budget. He should spend money for his family, for his needs, for his study, and all of this stuff. So if he is spending money on his own desire, on smoking, with time, he will be asked about that in the hereafter.
Yeah, of course. That's a good point. That's a lot of good points you hit.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, brother. I think the brother's in the back as well. Thank you, brother.
Yes. Actually, I have a very, very interesting story about this very bad habit, which is smoking. It was with my father. My father was a very big smoker, and one day I felt sick, and I think I was in preparatory school. I was young, and when he called me to go to the doctor, and while doctor making a checkup on my chest and my back, and he said, boy, stop smoking cigarettes. Doctor said that before my father. My father is standing, and I was very young. And the doctor insisted in saying that, boy, stop smoking cigarettes. And I said to him, I'm not a smoker. I don't put any cigarette in my mouth. He said, no, you are a liar. What I saw, what I see in your chest is a very, very big amount of smoking, and I don't understand anything. I stopped. He started laughing, and my father laughing, but my father understood the message clearly. He starts thinking about his bad habit, which is smoking beside your kids, beside your wife, beside the most beloved person. You are harming the most beloved person besides you in your house. Otherwise, outside house, your friend, this person that you say, I love him.
Right.
Stop smoking beside those people. And after that, alhamdulillah, without me I don't understand that, but the message was for my father. After that, with a very few days, he started thinking about getting rid of this bad habit, And alhamdulillah, now he stopped smoking for I think 10 years or something like that.
That's a beautiful story, brother.
This is my advice to fathers. Stop smoking.
Yeah, mashallah. Before we go to the brother Hossein in the back, thank you. Before we go to you, brother, thank you for those comments. We're going to check out a quick report. You guys check out this medical report concerning smoking and its bad effects on your health. So stay tuned.
Every time you inhale, tobacco smoke condenses in your lungs to form tar. This is a healthy lung. And this is the amount of tar a pack-a-day smoker breathes in every year. Smoking creates blood clots, which can cause strokes. Some strokes kill, blind, or paralyze. Others you don't even know you're having. This is the result of a minor stroke in a smoker, aged 38. Lungs are like sponges with millions of tiny air sacs for transferring oxygen. Every breath of tobacco smoke attacks them. No wonder smokers feel short of breath. Their lungs are rotting. New research shows how tobacco smoke attacks a vital gene which protects lung cells from cancer. One damaged cell is all it takes to start lung cancer growing. This is part of an aorta, the main artery from the heart. Smoking makes artery walls sticky and collect dangerous fatty deposits. This much was found stuck to the aorta wall of a smoker, aged 32. Chemicals from tobacco smoke get into your bloodstream and can damage the delicate blood vessels inside your eye. We now know that smoking is a major cause of irreversible blindness. Every cigarette is doing you damage.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Live on Huda TV. Brother Omar, during the break, you had some interesting comments regarding that video and about why perhaps old scholars said it wasn't haram. Can you talk about that?
It's very interesting that many people, if you talk to someone, they mention about how many of the ulama have said that it's makruh, and it's only makruh. But they don't realize this is before the scholars knew the effects of it. And they were focusing on the smell of it that came from the cigarette and not the actual effects. So we can imagine these same scholars being here today. What would they say now? People knowing that people are using their fatwa to say that this is haram or this is, that this is makruh. It's very interesting because it shows us that, like Zachariah was mentioning, how much evidence do you need when you see something clearly causing harm to the body? You know that this is wrong. You know that this is not correct in Islam.
Of course,
you're killing yourself.
Yeah, of course.
So how can killing yourself be correct?
Yeah, of course. And Brother Zachariah made an excellent point. You said the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't like bad smell, so perhaps the old scholars just focused on the aspect of the smell.
When you saw that the Prophet ﷺ, a person who ate garlic or said didn't want you to come, you should wash your mouth first, you know, because of the smell and that, you know.
Right.
So like we were saying also, if those scholars, and in those times, if they knew the harms of smoking and that, I don't think so that they would have been much more worse on this here, you know. They would have given us a scary fatwa on this here because, you know, like we say, when you hear the stories of how much of harm you can cause. Imagine smoking in a bus. How many people are you harming at one time?
Yeah, the whole bus.
The whole bus is inhaling what you are smoking, you know.
Yeah.
And for example, if you're walking outside, the small children around you. And what could be more worse than a person who's harming his own people that he loved, his own people that he took into his care, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum, that save your family, you know. And you, on the other hand, in the house, you're destroying them by smoking, you know, and the young kids. And most of the time what happens is, if a kid sees his father smoking, later on he picks up the habit.
Yeah, of course.
That is the bad.
Brother, I want to get back to you. We have a phone call via Skype, but that's exactly what you said. They just pick it up because they smoke because their father smoked. That's it. We have a phone call from via Skype. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Let's Talk Live. Nasruddin via Skype.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Hey man,
yes,
thanks for calling.
I'm Nasruddin calling from Sudan.
Thank you so much, brother.
West of Darfur. If you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Go ahead, loud and clear. Tell me your idea about this topic, your thoughts, rather, about smoking.
Oh, okay, yes. Just connected online, and I've just seen the Skype message. So this speech is about smoking and the disadvantages, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Of smoking. Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. You know, I used to be a smoker. It was 5 years ago. It is really damaging, you know. It kills. I used to smoke, you know, I was just like a prisoner in a prison when I used to smoke, you know. It was really tough experience I had for 7 years, you know. I see myself at the time like, you know, a prisoner. When I stopped smoking, it was, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, I stopped smoking. So when I stopped smoking, really, you know, I am like free man now, you know, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.
MashaAllah, but you did, that's great. But how, brother, how hard was it to quit? How did you do it?
You know what, that's what one day I decided. I remember one day my mother talked to me about it, and you know, by the way, I'm 30 years old, I have not mentioned my age, so my mother talked to me about it. She said, my son, you are killing yourself. And also I remember I was working for an addict organization here in Darfur. I used to have some friend who always, you know, kept telling me whenever he sees me with an sport, he tells me, hey, are you killing yourself? you are digging your grave, you know?
Yeah, of course.
You're digging your grave. Always, you know, this expression. So whenever I go to sleep, I remember this, you know, expression. So one day I said, okay, I'm not going to dig my hole, my grave. Let it dig itself. So, you know, I just stopped. I decided, the same day I decided, I stopped. Alhamdulillah, so far I am, alhamdulillah, in a good health.
MashaAllah, brother. That's a very amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a positive motivation for all smokers, that indeed you can quit smoking. It's not a big deal, inshallah. With the help of Allah, anything can be done. Brother, I want you to, if you have any comments, share them, and then hit us with the nasheed so we can go into the break, inshallah.
It's very interesting, because if you examine a lot of people that smoke, and particularly I'm talking about maybe some of my family members that I've seen in the past, if they're feeling a certain way, oh, I'm stressed out, I need a cigarette.
Yeah, right.
You know, and you can see that this is a type of dependence.
Oh yeah.
They depend on the cigarette the way they should depend on the law.
Perfect point.
And this is why many scholars have classified this as a type of shirk.
Oh, that's a great point, brother.
A lot of scholars have talked about, I've heard them speaking about smoking being as a type of shirk, because the person depends on the cigarette the way he depends on the
That's
law.
an excellent point, brother. I would love that. I never heard that before. That's wonderful. That's a great point. Brother, can you hit us with the nasheed if you're ready for us, and we're going to go to the break? Introduce the nasheed a little bit, and then hit it up, inshallah.
This nasheed I'm going to do, this is a song called Desires. It's not finished yet, so I only can do a piece of it. But you can relate this to this issue, because if a person's seeing the harmful effects of something and they continue to behave like it's okay, then the person's following the desires.
Right.
So if we can remind them to stay away from desires, inshallah. Bismillah. The life of this world is amusement, and striving to take that which benefits, and staying away from what brings you down. Some people boast about wealth and excursions. They crave for status and to be noticed. But none of these things never brought a smile. They say it's okay, do what you want, go on and sin. It's sure to die, it's bringing you right in. Blackening your heart, it will destroy you. If you want to follow your desires, it can take you right into the fire. But if we put aside our desires, it can take us higher. If you want to follow your desires, it can take you right into the fire. But if you put aside your desires, it can take you higher.
That's amazing. It's beautiful. Thank you guys for watching, enjoying that nasheed by Brother Omar. Inshallah, you guys stay tuned for the last and final segment with Dr. Salah. And don't forget, we're going to have a final word about this issue of smoking from Dr. Muhammad Salah, so stay tuned.
Islam is a comprehensive way of life. It deals with everything. The Prophet ﷺ wanted to empower people, and he wanted them to feel the responsibility, not just to rely on the state. The companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum, and in particular Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, in the beginning they were not pleased and they were not proud to become the Khalifa. These days we see the candidates running to become the Amir. Islamic State has to provide all inhabitants with the basic needs. It has to fulfill their basic needs. One of the main foundations of the Islamic State is to establish justice.
Some people say praying 5 times a day is too much. They say praying 5 times a day is too much. But there's 20 cigarettes in a pack, and they find time to smoke all 20, you guys. So that's an excellent point I wanted to mention. Welcome back to Let's Talk. I mean, Shaykh, that's a wonderful point as well. Another point Brother Omar mentioned, wasting money. This is also irresponsible, isn't it, for the Muslim just to throw his money around as if he has his family doesn't have rights on him and he doesn't have a responsibility as to the way he's spending his money, isn't it?
You know, just this morning, checking on this topic, I read the kitab written by Shaykh Abu Fatah Abu Huda, which is called Qimatu Zaman 'Inda al-Ulama. And in there he mentioned the hadith of, which is narrated by Imam Bukhari, Imam Tirmidhi, and Ibn Majah, عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ.
Meaning?
That there are two types of blessing which people have wasted and people have taken out. They have showed they have showed no appreciation towards. Mainly that your health and your free time.
Let's talk about, let me take this phone call. I want to get back to that. It's a perfect topic related to what we're talking about. Perfect point. We have a phone call, Sister Jihan from Austria. MashaAllah, from Austria, just south of Germany in Europe, Central Europe. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Thank you for calling. Let's talk. Oh, I'm sorry. I kept you on hold too long. It appears that the line cut off. I apologize. I know you were on hold there for a minute, and I forgot to bring you in. So please give us a call back. I apologize. Shaykh, excellent point. Time and health.
And health. And as-siha, which is health, and your free time. And you remember last week we had the discussion about time. And if you look, this falls in with that, because if we take what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioning to us first, the health which you have.
Right.
And you know, kullu nafasin umuruk, that every breath that you take, your life is going by. That every breath that you take, kullu nafasin min anfasika jawharun.
Meaning?
And every breath that you take from the breath that you are giving is a gem. It's a jewel. So imagine you are taking some of those breaths, which you could be reciting the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which you could be talking about good, which you could be reading Quran, which you could be getting the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are doing something which is making the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being drawn upon you, you know, and wasting away your health, wasting away your time, you know. So
your time, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Shaykh. We do have a phone call, but the time is a big factor. Let's talk about time, wasting time in Islam. After we take Jihan from Austria. Thank you, sister, for calling back. Welcome to Let's Talk. Alaikum salam, sister. Thank you for calling Let's Talk. We certainly appreciate your phone call. Please, sister, give us your thoughts regarding this topic of smoking. I know you're based in Austria, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of smokers there as well, right?
Yeah, there are lots of smokers. Right now I'm in Egypt, actually, but I'm from Austria. So what I wanted to say is, I used to smoke, but of course before I started practicing, and everyone says it's like impossible to stop, but subhanAllah, look, I stopped like 5 days after I started practicing, you know? So it is possible.
That's
and
great.
my father-in-law is really a heavy smoker. 2 packages a day.
Oh my gosh, that's so
and
much.
He's already sick, his heart is sick and everything. And he really thinks he can't live without it. He quit smoking for about a few days. He was in the hospital because of the cigarettes. And he said he got more sick because he didn't smoke. So, I mean, subhanAllah, how can people even think that? Now, alhamdulillah, I'm married, I have a son. Imagine which troubles I would have caused my baby if I would have smoked in my pregnancy. I can't imagine how selfish.
Of course. Now, sister, as a mother, when someone...
Really?
Yeah, of course, I agree with you, the smoking during pregnancy. Now, as a mother, when you see someone smoking around your son or daughter, what do you do?
I know people in Austria. Excuse me?
As a mother now, when you see someone smoking around your child, what do you do?
I take my child and go away. I mean, subhanAllah, I know I have friends in Austria and they smoke during their pregnancy. They are non-Muslims, but they think, no, it's okay. The doctor told me if I quit now, it will harm my baby more. How crazy is that?
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, that's strange.
SubhanAllah, how can they do that? Do you know that any cigarette makes your baby's heart beat faster a quarter time? Does anyone even know that?
Of course.
Really, it makes me so angry.
But sister, where are there more smokers, in Europe or in the Middle East? That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do you find more smokers?
Excuse me again, sorry, my connection is really bad.
So where do you find more smokers, back home in Austria or here in the Middle East?
It's like that. In Austria, I see more people smoking, especially the women. Here, I don't see girls smoking, you know. But of course, I know girls here in Egypt, they call themselves Muslimin and smoke, but
alhamdulillah,
so it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. Thank you for your call. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for giving us that perspective and giving hope to the viewers that, you know, who do smoke, that, you know, you can quit because you quit yourself. So thank you so much for your time, sister. Please call back anytime to any of our programs. We certainly appreciate it. You guys, before I take your thoughts on wasting time and that phone call, let's watch this quick clip from Dr. Muhammad Salah. He's telling you guys at home that smoking is haram. Check it out.
Allahu Akbar.
A question regarding smoking. Now, she said, is it haram or, and I like the next phrase, and this is why I wrote it down, just disliked, Shaykh. So what is it, just disliked or haram?
Usually, you hear from me that smoking is definitely prohibited. And its prohibition, not just like the prohibition of drinking, it's even worse. Worse in what sense? Number one, it is prohibited because it is amongst al-khaba'ith, the evil acts, and it is very harmful, and it has no benefit whatsoever in it. And that is the same reason why Allah prohibited the intoxicants. And why is it more prohibited than drinking? Because its harm is extended to others, what we call it the second-hand smokers. People who happen to be sitting in a place where somebody is smoking at work or at home, and they end up having themselves cancer due to smoking unwillingly. Such people have been hurt because of the evil doing of others, while the Prophet ﷺ said, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Harm should not be inflicted nor reciprocated. You should not harm yourself, nor should you cause any harm to others.
Welcome back. I hope you appreciated that classic, that Huda TV classic with Brother Jamil and Dr. Salat taking it way back to Ask Huda. Talking about smoking is haram. We have a phone call, I believe. Assalamu alaikum, Faisal, all the way from the KSA. You cut off, brother. I thought you had a good line in this KSA. No problem. Give me a call back, inshallah. Brother, you mentioned a controversial point in the break. If you want to mention it, go ahead. If you don't, we can go back to your topic about wasting time. It's up to you.
In fact, we can just go back to the topic.
Okay, but this is important too, because we want to say, how did the Sahaba spend their time? How did the Prophet spend his time?
When I was seeing this, as-sihhatu wal-faragh, and I found that, you know, the famous scholar Allama Kishk mentioned in one of his programs, he said that an-nafsu in lam tashghilha bil-haq shaghalatka bil-batil. That your desires and yourself, if you do not engage yourself in always keeping yourself busy with obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether at work, whether, you know, it will engage you in the disobedience.
Yeah.
And many smokers who started smoking was because he had free time, you know, he was just sitting and he didn't know what to do, and you know, and he just, shaitan comes and he whispers into your ear.
Yeah, of course.
And most of the time you will find that people that have bad habits, it's because of free time with nothing to do in that free time.
Yeah.
So you pick up bad habits because shaitan is always looking for that person that has free time. And look at how Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam joined it, health and free time.
Yeah, the wisdom behind that.
The wisdom behind it. And you know, for your health, especially your health as youngsters, you know, like we said last week also, we mentioned it, that, you know, a lot of youngsters, they are smoking because they think that, you know, we have time. We can't get cancer. The people who have cancer are 30, 35 years old, 40 years old, you know. And, you know, in fact, I think so we should have programs where youngsters should go and see those people that suffer from lung cancer.
Yeah.
They should go and see people who suffer from TB.
Yeah.
All these, you know, tuberculosis, all these diseases that are caused by smoking.
Of course,
you know. And see that what it does. And imagine if you're smoking from the age of 12, 11, 12.
Yeah, of course.
Imagine by the time you reach 30 years old, what will be the condition of your lungs? You know?
And you see people smoking even younger. It's really sad. And you see adults selling them the cigarettes. It makes you even sad. Like, why is the adult selling him the drugs? You
before
know?
it used to be, before it used to be adult, you know, restriction, 18 years old and that. Today, it's, you know, it's you have the money,
you buy it.
You buy it. You know, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And my friend was just telling me yesterday, in South Africa, the petrol is gone up. It's about 12 rand a liter now. 12 rand would be about 12 rand a liter. But if I'm using the South African perspective, if you could count the amount, a pack of cigarettes now in South Africa, he said to me, it's 35 rand.
Oh.
That 35 rand, if a person saves it over 2 months, you can feed a whole orphanage.
SubhanAllah, man. Yeah, think about the money that's being thrown down the toilet.
Not one person, you can feed a whole orphanage. Buying the normal staple food, you know, maybe a pack of rice and you know, some soup to eat with that rice, it will feed a whole orphanage of 300-400 children. And imagine, that's why we were saying that, how will it be on the day of Qiyamah? How will you be able to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Yeah, think about that. That's a wonderful
how you wasted your every that breath, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is one of the powers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that I just have to take away one of my blessings, and what will happen to the insan if Allah says, if I take away the power of air, what can mankind do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and that gem, that jewel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, you know, the people, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us, we're wasting it by smoking, by buying cigarettes, you know, by inhaling, you know. So it's something for the smokers to really think about.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Shaykh. You know, Omar, you know, we live in the Middle East and we see many poor children on the street. That's a great point that Shaykh made, right? The money that you spend on the cigarettes, you could have fed a child and children.
Yes, and do you find that whether it be male or female, the people that are buying the most of cigarettes, you find them amongst the poor people.
Isn't that the strange concept?
And there's a very strange thing, because they don't even have money as it is to begin with. They have very little money for their family, for their children, and they're taking the money and they're wasting more wealth.
Yeah, right. It's just strange. Yes, subhanAllah. We have about 3 minutes left. I want to go. I know the brother in the back had a comment. Brother, go ahead, inshallah.
Yes, actually, I have many things in point, but I know that the time is very limited. But actually, out of my experience, when it comes to how to help your Muslim brothers and sisters, and even a fellow human being, how to quit smoking, I do believe that certain points have to be addressed. The number one point is that he has to know that it is haram. It is completely forbidden. It is completely illegal to be indulged in such a very serious and a very ill habit.
Yeah, of course, excellent.
Because of all the scientific
evidence
points that we are mentioned, and I'd like to also stress that it is not only its harms and hazards are not only limited to our bodies and our social relationships, but also to the environment. And this is a very important thing to bear in mind, because in Islam we know that we have to protect the environment, and this is a very point, and this dimension has to be taken into account as well when it comes to why smoking is prohibited in Islam.
Of course.
So this is one point, that he has to know that he or she has to know that it is completely haram. The second point, he has to be aware of its ill effects on his health and all other aspects. And the third point, he has to seek the help of Allah the Almighty by praying, and as long as, and this is my message to the brothers and sisters who are smoking, is that they have to have the determination and an unshakable resolve that smoking is forbidden and it's evil and it's harmful, and they have to seek the help of Allah the Almighty to quit, inshallah, and Allah will help them, inshallah.
Thank you, brother, so much. You know what, we're wrapping up the episode here, though. What is irritating, I want to say to my Muslim brother, you're smoking, brother, you're harming me. You're harming me. Why are you doing that? If you want to harm yourself, I'm sorry, if you make that decision. But you're harming me. Shaykh, can you give us a small reminder, and we can close the episode on this point, about the perhaps not harming others, or being considerate of others, inshallah?
It's very important of being considerate of others, as Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has also mentioned that إِذَاءُ الْمُؤْمِنِ haram, that to harm your Muslim brother, it is haram, Yeah,
this is beautiful. Can you say it again in Arabic? And then
إِذَاءُ الْمُؤْمِنِ haram, that harming your Muslim brother is forbidden, and that is why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the other side we have that if a person, just imagine, they say because of a person who moved a small, something which would harm his Muslim brother from the road, for that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could grant you Jannah. Because of your Muslim brother, that it could harm him, so you moved it out, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could grant you Jannah. So imagine if you're harming your Muslim brother, you could be the greatest person on earth. You could be the greatest. But if you're harming your Muslim brother, you understand, then it in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is something which is not allowed. So that's why we're saying that you're smoking. It's not only harming you, but you're harming people around you. So on the day of Qiyamah, how many people do you want to testify against you? So inshallah, what we are saying to the smokers and to all those people that are consuming in that, this is a beautiful poem which is written by Abu al-Qasim al-Hariri. He says that Amal himamu mi'aduk, that is death not a promise to us all. Fama i'adaduk, what have we prepared for this journey? Wabil mashibi indharuk, and every day you are not getting any younger. You are coming towards your time, and it's a warning towards you. Fama i'adharuk, what more warnings do you need? Wafil lahdi maqiluk, and in the grave, when you are lowered, you will be questioned. Fama qiluk, what will you say at that time? Wa ila Allahi masiruk, and to Allah is your return. Faman nasiruk, who will be your companion at that time? The famous scholar said, Hatim al-Asam, he said, فَجَعَلْتُ الْحَسَنَاتِ مَحْبُوبِ, I made my good actions, my good towards my Muslim brothers, caring about the people around me, that I made so that when I enter into the grave, it will enter with me and save me from the punishment of the grave.
Thank you for that beautiful reminder, inshallah.
Very good word is
brother. Inshallah, we'll after the show, inshallah, the director Jaid, inshallah. Brother Omar, thank you so much for your time as well. I think you guys are a good combo. I want to bring you guys back as I want to hand over the show to you guys and to host the show, inshallah, maybe in the future, because you guys are a nice combo and it's very beneficial. Thank you for that reminder. Thank you so much. You guys, Thank you for your time. You guys at home, I certainly enjoyed you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk Live. Check it out on YouTube. Check out these young brothers, man. They're having a lot of beneficial things to say. I hope you benefited from it. So until next time, I leave you in care. But before I let you go, next week there'll be a recorded episode with Pierre Vogel, because inshallah, some of us will be traveling to make Hajj, inshallah, to perform and cover Hajj. So please make dua for us. Next week, Pierre Vogel, Let's Talk Live, recorded actually. You don't want to miss it. So until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the dips are high, and you want to smile but have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say to us, don't harm yourself or make or be a reason of harmful health for others. That's our deen.
Can you see this hadith in Arabic?
Yes. لا ضرر ولا ضرار.
Brother, this morning on the microbus, before when I came to work, the brother was smoking next to me, and I said, brother, can you please put out the cigarette? And he said, no. I said, please, brother. And I quoted this hadith, which I heard from Dr. Salah yesterday. So I said, mashallah, the hadith, this knowledge is better than using violence or yelling and screaming. No, you gave this, mashallah, this Muslim brother who was smoking, I gave him this small hadith that I learned from Dr. Salah and asked Huda, and it worked. He put out a cigarette. I was very pleased about that. Alhamdulillah. So thank you, brother. So can you quote the hadith again for me in Arabic?
Yes. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا ضرر ولا ضرار.
No violence or reciprocating violence.
Yes.
Brother, can you pass the mic to the brother next? Actually, hold on. Before we get to you, brother, let me just get to the Shaykh Zakaria. Brother, you come from South Africa. Are there a lot of smokers there?
Well, in South Africa, it's the same thing that you meet here in Egypt.
Okay.
Mostly you'll see that there's a big majority of smokers.
There is, okay.
And the sad part is that, especially amongst the upcoming youth, it hurts you, it pains you to see a youngster smoking in front of elders, he doesn't have a care in the world who's watching him, and it's really sad to see that the amount of smokers that are coming in. And I would just like to add this, that the worst sight ever is to see a girl smoking.
Yes,
to see a female smoking. It's really, it's horrible.
Actually, alhamdulillah, I didn't see that much here in the Middle East. I did see it once or twice, which is really disappointing. Although, Brother Omar, where we're from the United States, this is a regular sight, isn't it?
It's normal.
In fact, Brother Omar, I have some stats here. According to a Reuters poll in 2011, 500,000 people die in the U.S. alone from smoking each year, and smoking in the United States kills slightly more women than men. What are your thoughts about those stats there? 500,000 people die a year alone from smoking-related cancer. And that's an amazing fact, isn't it?
It's amazing.
That people keep smoking.
It's amazing that people find out how harmful things are and they continue to do it.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt.
Would you like to kill yourself? Would you like to kill yourself slowly? Would you pay money to kill yourself? Well, that's what you're doing if you smoke cigarettes. So stop smoking, no smoking. Because not only are you killing yourself, but more importantly, you're killing me, because the secondhand smoke is killing me. And that's our topic today on Let's Talk Live right here on Huda TV. The number is 00202 385554. Brother, what country are you from?
Actually, I'm from Egypt.
Okay,
it's my pleasure to be beside you in this very special episode about smoking and
Mashallah,
doing harm
thank you,
things
bro-
for yourself and for others.
Brother, do you have any stories you can share with us about? I know people here in Egypt, unfortunately, they do smoke. So do you have any personal stories you can share with us when you ask somebody to stop smoking and they did, or anything like that?
Yes, you're right, but actually the problem is bigger than saying a story. It's something regarding to our deen. It has a hukm in our deen. It's a kind of haram or halal.
Okay.
Doing things for Muslims must have the knowledge of doing this. Is this haram or halal?
Right.
And I think smoking cigarettes is very, very bad thing. Sometimes I found many situations regarding being the transportations, but I find smoking cigarettes is very, very harmful thing for oneself and for others.
Yes.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it haram for ourselves because it's harm for ourselves and for others. And the Prophet
8 or 9, that's 0020238555248 or 249. And before we begin this episode, please pray and make dua for my good friends who smoke cigarettes like Moataz Nabil, Ahmed Ismail, Muhammad Shoki, and Muhammad Sami. All these are good Muslim people. They're good brothers, but they smoke these terrible cigarettes. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about why it's important to stop smoking if you do smoke. That's our topic for today. We have two special guests. You saw them here last week, so we bring them back by popular demand. The South African Shaykh, all the way here from South Africa, obviously, Shaykh Zakaria. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Zakaria.
Assalamu rahmatullahi.
Thank you so much. But I forgot what city you're from in South Africa.
From Fordsburg.
Okay, excellent, but wonderful. Of course, we have American Rebirth brother from Pennsylvania, also a former Def Jam artist, a nasheed artist, and we're very pleased and happy to have you, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for being with us. I'm expecting, inshallah, if you can bring us a couple of nasheeds, perhaps related to this topic today, if it's okay with you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, and we have the studio audience as well. We have a assalamu alaikum, young man. Nice to be with.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Of course, we have a special guest all the way from around the world in the back. Can you pass the mic back there? Brother Akim Basuni, he's a regular guest, so let's talk. Assalamu alaikum, brother.